Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Vicky and I am currently 32 weeks pregnant. So if you want to see how I've been feeling or what I've been up to for the last 2 weeks, then keep on watching. So as always, I suggest that you grab yourself a beverage or a snack or something, because we're just gonna have a chat. We're gonna share how I've been feeling, what I've been up to, all of that kind of thing. So yeah, pause this video, pop the kettle on, and I'll see you in 5. So I didn't actually do a 31-week update. Now this is mainly because, now if you follow me on Instagram or if you saw my community tab last week, then you will know why, but it's because of a topic that I really want to discuss in this video, because it is just so super important and I honestly don't think it's really talked about enough. And that is movement. So last Monday I had an episode of reduced movements. I had a little bit of reduced movement on the Sunday prior, and I'd rung up and spoke to my maternity assessment unit, spoke to a midwife. She seemed pretty happy with how things were kind of over the course of a few hours, and just said, obviously, if you want to come in, please do, or if anything at all changes, then come in and be checked. So I went through the whole of the Sunday. I felt fine, movements picked back up again, everything seemed to feel like normal, and I say that in like quite loosely because obviously everybody's normal is different and there's not necessarily a set normal, but there is like a normal for you. So it's worth noting, especially if you're a lot earlier on in pregnancy, to just start kind of noticing these kind of patterns and noticing your baby's normal. So basically we went on to the Monday, and then on Monday morning I don't know, something didn't feel right, and I said to my husband, luckily he was on duty that week, so he was on shift from midnight until 7 AM, so he was like off during the day, so he was home, and I just said to him, something doesn't feel right, like I just don't feel right. She hasn't kicked as much as normal, and when she has, it's been quite laboured. It's been quite light, almost like how you feel kind of movement earlier on, which to me wasn't normal. So that instantly I was like, right, something's not right. Had slight reduced movement yesterday, but it picked back up again and now it's dropped again. Like, I don't really know what that means, if anything, and it just worried me. And I was like, do you know what? I am only going to stress and make things so much worse by sat here thinking, like, what if? So we decided to go down to the maternity assessment unit. Obviously I had to go in on my own, and I got put on the monitor just to check that obviously baby was moving okay, check her heart rate, all of those kind of things. So result of that is everything's absolutely fine. Everything was absolutely fine. I think basically it's a bit of a mixture in my personal experience, that because of the location of my placenta, I have an anterior high placenta, which if you're not aware of, I mean, I really wasn't either. My midwife said, you've got an anterior placenta, and didn't actually explain what it was. I was like, okay, great, but I don't know what anterior means. So you can either have an anterior or posterior. I believe there might be another one, I don't know, but anterior means it's basically at the front rather than at the back, so you generally feel a little bit less in terms of movement anyway, but you do still feel them. So it was a mixture of that, and I think baby going into position. So I've thought for the longest time that she was transverse, which is like across my stomach, because I was feeling all my movements just at one side, and if kind of she poked out at all, it would only be on one side. So I was convinced that that's where she was, and that's where my movement was fine up until. But then when they started to reduce again, or when they had reduced over this Sunday and Monday period, and when I went in to be checked, she said no, she's head down. So I think what's happened is she's obviously moved down into position, as it were, and I'm just generally feeling a little bit less because of change of position and location of my placenta. So I think that's the kind of general gist of what I'm getting from my experience of reduced movement. Obviously everybody is completely different, so please do not take this as any kind of advice or anything. Please get advice from a medical professional, whether that's your GP, your midwife, maternity assessment unit, whoever it is. Please get advice if you are concerned. And like I say, that's what I really wanted to talk about in this video. So there is an app that you'll probably be made aware of if you are based in the UK from your midwife, and it is called Kicks Count. So I believe it's a charity. They started quite a long time ago. I remember even my mum being told about it when she was pregnant with my little brother like 9 years ago. And yeah, so basically there's an app you can get, or I think you can buy a wristband from them even if it's more convenient for you, but it's an app. I'll show you it on my phone, but I'll leave the link to it in the description if I can. So it's just like this here, and it's almost like a counter thing, so you can kind of tap as and when you feel movements, so you can kind of total them up throughout the day. Because I know that if you don't use something like this or any kind of tallying system, then you generally kind of sit there and think by the end of the day, have I even felt baby move, like how many times, and this, that and the other. And like I say, there's no set rules on how many times you should feel your baby move. Like every baby is different and every body is different, so just monitor it from obviously a little bit earlier on, just so you can kind of notice patterns and things like that. So if anything does seem abnormal to you, then you can get advice. So that is what I wanted to say. And along with that, because I know a lot of people, especially I feel like first time mums, that are obviously more anxious about this kind of thing because they're told to count the kicks and count movements and stuff like that. You do worry that when you don't feel something, that something is wrong. And yes, it could well be a sign that something is wrong, but more often than not, it's not. But it is not worth the risk, and I want to stress that so much, because there's been cases that I've read about that I wish I'd never had, not recently but like years ago, that I'd read, that have just stuck in my mind, of things that have happened because people haven't had their movements or reduced movements checked out. So I know a lot of people worry that they're going to be wasting like the hospital's time, or they feel stupid for going, especially because, and in my instance, as soon as you get hooked up to the monitor, more often than not, baby starts kicking away, happy as Larry. But like I say, it's not worth the risk. You are not being stupid. You have to just trust your instinct with this, and if something just doesn't feel right, then just go and get it checked. It's not worth sitting at home worrying yourself about it, thinking, oh, but I've got the midwife next week, I'll wait till then. No, don't wait. Ring up or just go into your unit and get checked, because the midwife would much rather see you for that half an hour or possibly longer, depending, than you sitting at home worrying. It's not worth it. The stress on you and the baby, if you just sat at home worrying about it, it's not worth it. So please, if you feel any kind of changes in movements or anything, please get checked out. So that's my public service announcement. So that aside, that is the main thing that I kind of wanted to talk about in this video, like I say, because that kind of happened to me last week. I did feel stupid. I even had these stupid things going on inside my head that I was like, yeah, but the hospital's 45 minutes away, I don't have change for parking. Like all these stupid things like in my head that I was like, do you know what, it's not even worth thinking about that. Like if it takes us 2 hours to actually get there and parked and everything else, and I have to somehow, I don't know, go to a shop and get some change, then so be it. Like we'll work everything out, and I did. Everything was fine, but it's just not worth, it's not worth thinking about. That's what we're gonna leave it there, because I've been talking for like 10 minutes about this now, and yeah, but it's something that I'm quite passionate about, so sorry. So the other two things that I wanted to talk about were just kind of general symptoms, and they are backache. So I have been getting a little bit more lower back pain, just because I think obviously where I'm gaining weight and things like that, and I'm trying to be more mobile, or as mobile as possible, but obviously that's putting a little bit of pressure on my back. Nothing like crazy, it's totally like fine, I can work around it if needs be. I have taken paracetamol, but obviously I'm trying to avoid it where I can. And the only other thing is slight swelling. So I'm having a little bit of swelling in my hands and my feet. Again, I'm finding that as if I'm doing more or if I haven't drunk enough. And it's just kind of like my hands kind of go to that tight feeling when they just feel a bit puffy, when you know when you get really hot and you just your hands swell. It's that kind of thing, but it does calm down. There's no kind of signs of anything. I had my 32-week appointment with the midwife yesterday and everything was fine. My urine was fine, my blood pressure was fine, baby's heart rate was fine, everything was fabulous. So yeah, that is pretty much my 32-week update. I'll show you my bump in a second, but I just wanted to quickly go back on my last update and check for any possible questions or anything, because I know there was a couple that I avoided answering. Where are we? 30 weeks. Someone called me smug. Thanks, love. So I do want to address that in this video, because I know that, especially if you've just come across this video without watching any of my others, then you will not have heard me mention this before, but I know and I have expressed how lucky and how grateful I am to have had such a straightforward pregnancy. Like, I am not trying to be smug about it at all. It's just, this is how it's been, and this is obviously how I'm documenting it. I'm sorry if that comes across the wrong way at all, but that's that. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. So Leanne says, have you had any weird food cravings? With one of her sons, she used to eat crisp sandwiches with mustard and cheese, which is totally disgusting. First off, I don't think that's particularly disgusting. I love a crisp sandwich, and I can't imagine it being particularly bad with cheese on it. Maybe not mustard, but then, I don't know. To be fair, it doesn't sound bad. As pregnancy cravings go, that one sounds pretty good. But I haven't had any weird cravings. The only craving, and it's not like a, I've felt like I've wanted it like a craving, but not like a, oh my god, I'm gonna go out of my fucking way to go and get this thing. It's not been like that, but the only thing that I've kind of craved is mini eggs. So couldn't have gone out of my way particularly to have got them, because it's November and they don't generally come out until like January time. So yeah, that's great. But funnily enough, a friend of mine noticed that I was craving them and managed to source some online and sent me like 2 kilos worth. So I'm set for if that craving comes back. So yeah, there was that. And a couple of people have asked about baby names and things like that. So I have said that I plan on doing like a baby names video. I don't know whether that will be just me or with my husband as well. I'm not sure yet. We haven't really discussed names for a while. We discussed it kind of early on, and there's a couple that we both like. And I'm not hiding them for any particular reason. It's purely because they're just kind of names that I like, but I don't know if I would use, and things like that. I know there's a video, I think it's like baby names I like but won't be using, something like that. I might do that as well, because I think it'd be quite interesting. But yeah, so that is, I think, the only few that I didn't really answer as such. So the only other thing that I wanted to quickly mention is hypnobirthing again. So I mentioned this, I think, in my last update, that I was going to try hypnobirthing. So I said I was going to read the book and get the app from the Positive Birth Company. So my friend Emma very kindly sent this book to me so I could flick through it because she had it, and to save me buying it. So I am this much through it now. I've only got about a third left-ish. And I'm really enjoying reading this actually. I'm finding it really beneficial to me because, like I've said before, I feel like I am fairly naive about the whole birthing situation, but I'm also very just generally unaware of like how things work. And I think quite a lot of us are, like a lot of women like to think, oh yeah, I know how to like give birth to a baby, but the actual like science, the anatomy and things like that, like you have no idea. And I feel like now, having read about this, that is a massive part of it, knowing how like your body is working at that time, like is a massive part of actually giving birth. And that's why I found this like so helpful. Like I say, I haven't even finished it yet, but I already feel so much better, so much more prepared, and so much more just like knowledgeable about like how my body works, which is just incredible. So I highly suggest that if you're thinking about hypnobirthing, definitely give it a go. It's not some like hippy dippy shit. It's like, it's just a way of, I don't know, it's a learning tool, if anything, and it's just a very knowledgeable source, whether you do the like digital course or whether you just read the book like I have. I found the book to be more than helpful. A lot of other people will probably find it easier to do the digital version, which is absolutely fine. But yeah, I do suggest looking into it if you are pregnant. So that is everything. I'm going to quickly show you my bump. So I am exactly 32 weeks today, if I can get up. So this is a bump with clothes on. Hopefully you can see my massive baggy jumper there. I feel like she's still growing nicely. And then bump naked as such. I feel like over the last kind of 2 weeks I've probably noticed a little bit more in terms of growth when I've like looked back at pictures and stuff. And yeah, but yeah, she's growing nicely. I've got a little stretch mark there where I've had my belly pierced years ago. But yeah, everything is all good. It's starting to get a little bit kind of more tight now, which is super exciting. It just means that I'm like, I don't know, I feel pregnant. Like obviously I've felt pregnant for a long time now, but I feel like you just get to that stage where you're like, oh, I actually feel like I look pregnant. I don't just look like I've gained a little bit of weight and stuff. And it's just really nice. It's just like the nicest feeling in the world. And I posted a photo on my Instagram the other day, a little bump date. And I just said like, I am equal parts sad to lose my bump and excited to meet my daughter. Like there's nothing like the excitement of meeting your child, but this is just such a nice feeling. Like it's just the bonding experience starting already. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna love you and leave you because I've been chatting now for far too long. My coffee is definitely stone cold by now. So I hope you have enjoyed this update. Make sure to leave any questions that you want me to answer in my next update down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.